In the quiet hush of a Los Angeles hospice room, where the soft hum of machines and the gentle rustle of curtains blend with the distant sound of a recording from decades past, a voice that once filled Motown stages, Soul Train sets, and dance floors across the world has finally fallen silent. Foster Sylvers. The child prodigy who shot to fame at just 11 years old with his 1973 hit Misdemeanor, the co-lead vocalist on the Sylvers' 1976 disco anthem, Boogie Fever, and the behind-the-scenes producer and bassist who helped craft some of the biggest R&B and pop records of the 1980s, died on May 30th, 2026, at the age of 64 after a private, courageous battle with stage 4 metastatic cancer, confirmed by his older brother and legendary producer Leon Sylvers III. The news of his passing sent shockwaves through the music world, from the old-school R&B community to the disco revival scene, to the generation of producers who still pull up his bass lines and songwriting credits in their studios today. His brother Leon, the man behind countless Janet Jackson, Shalimar, and Dynasty hits, told TMZ that Foster had died in hospice, surrounded by family, after a fight that had been going on for months, but that he had kept as private as possible, refusing to let the illness become a spectacle, refusing to let the pain become the story. Instead, he kept the spotlight on the music, on the memories, on the people who had loved him, on the legacy that he had built, not just on the stage, not just on the charts, but in the quiet corners of the industry, in the songwriting sessions, in the late-night production rooms, in the moments when the music felt like it was alive, when it felt like it was breathing, when it felt like it was speaking in a language that only the people in the room could understand. Born Foster Emerson Sylvers on February 25, 1962, in Memphis, Tennessee, he was the youngest of a large, musical family that would become one of the most influential R&B groups of the 1970s and 1980s. His parents, Leon Sylvers Jr. and Shirley Mae Weibel Sylvers, were both musicians, and their home was filled with the sound of singing, harmonizing, rehearsing, writing, and performing. The Sylvers were originally known as the Little Angels, a group supervised by their mother, who pushed them to perform from the age of 3, taking them on television shows alongside celebrities like Groucho Marx, Dinah Shore, Mike Douglas, Spike Jonze, and Danny Thomas, long before they ever signed a record deal or stepped onto a stage with a live audience. The children were not just performers. They were part of a family business, a family identity, a family legacy that would shape the way they thought about music, about work, about the balance between art and commerce, between the public and the private, between the stage and the home. Foster was the youngest of the siblings, the one who would become the child star, the one who would be the face of the family's early success, the one who would be the one people remembered most vividly when they thought of the Sylvers in their early years. He was only 11 when he released Misdemeanor, a song written by his brother Leon Sylvers III and produced by Jerry Peters, that became a top 10 hit on the R&B charts and a signature song for the family group. The song, with its cheeky, playful lyrics and its smooth, soulful melody, became a classic, a track that would be sampled by hip-hop acts, covered by new artists, and remembered by fans who had grown up with it, who had danced to it, who had fallen in love to it, who had lost loved ones to it. It was a song that felt like it belonged to everyone, but that also felt like it belonged to Foster because it was him who had sung it, who had brought it to life, who had made it feel like it was real, like it was honest, like it was true. After Misdemeanor, Foster continued to record solo, releasing a cover of Dee Clark's 1959 hit, Hey Little Girl, and later, in 1978, a full-length self-titled album for Capitol Records, which included the single, I'll See You in My Dreams. But it was his work with the Sylvers that would become the most enduring part of his legacy, the work that would keep him in the public eye, the work that would keep him on the charts, the work that would keep him in the hearts of fans who had grown up with the group, who had grown up with the music, who had grown up with the idea that music could be both fun and meaningful, both danceable and emotional, both commercial and artistic. In 1976, the Sylvers released Boogie Fever, a song that would become one of the biggest disco hits of the decade, a track that would top the Billboard Hot 100, that would be played in clubs, at parties, at weddings, at funerals, at moments when people needed to feel alive, to feel connected, to feel part of something larger than themselves. Foster sang the co-lead vocals on that track, sharing the spotlight with his siblings, but his voice was the one that stood out, the one that carried the song, the one that made it feel like it was alive, the one that made it feel like it was real. Over the years, Foster moved from performing to songwriting, to production, to playing bass, to becoming a behind-the-scenes force in the industry, working with artists like Janet Jackson, Shalimar, Dynasty, and Evelyn Champagne King, co-writing and producing tracks that would become hits, that would become classics, that would become part of the fabric of the 1980s and 1990s music scene. He co-wrote Janet Jackson's Come Give Your Love to Me, a song that reached number 17 on the R&B charts in early 1983, and he contributed to Evelyn Champagne King's Shakedown, a track that would become a staple of the disco and post-disco era. He also worked on Dynasty's album, Your Piece of the Rock, and he co-wrote the Sylvers' Don't Stop, Get Off from their Casablanca Records LP, Forever Yours. His work was not always in the spotlight, but it was always there, always present, always part of the sound of the era, always part of the story of the music, always part of the legacy that he had built. In 1994, Foster was convicted of a sex offense and incarcerated, a moment that would become a part of his story, a part of his legacy, a part of the way people would remember him, a part of the way people would talk about him, a part of the way people would think about him. His charge was oral copulation, with a victim who was unconscious of the nature of the act, a crime that he never denied, that he never tried to explain away, that he never tried to make feel like it was anything other than what it was. He remained on the state of California Department of Justice Sex Offenders Profile Registry for the rest of his life, a reminder that his story was not just about the music, not just about the fame, not just about the success, but also about the mistakes, about the pain, about the consequences of actions that can never be undone, that can never be erased, that can never be forgotten. He served his time. He paid his debt to society. He tried to move forward, to rebuild, to find a way to live with the past, to find a way to live with the people who had been hurt, to find a way to live with the people who had loved him, to find a way to live with himself. In the years after his release, Foster continued to work, to record, to perform, to produce, to write, to play, to be a part of the music, to be a part of the industry, to be a part of the legacy that he had built, even if it was not always in the spotlight, even if it was not always in the public eye, even if it was not always in the headlines. He released 2 albums under the group name Foster Sylvers and High Tech, Plain and Simple for EMI America in 1987 and Primetime for A&M in 1990, and he continued to work as a session musician, as a songwriter, as a producer, as a bassist, as a collaborator, as a friend, as a brother, as a son, as a man who had lived a life that was both full and complicated, both celebrated and troubled, both beautiful and painful. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated to be between $3 million and $5 million, a figure that reflects his career as a singer, as a songwriter, as a producer, as a session musician, as a performer, as a collaborator, as a friend, as a brother, as a son, as a man who had lived a life that was both full and complicated, both celebrated and troubled, both beautiful and painful. The number is not particularly large in the way that modern celebrity wealth is measured, but it is meaningful, a reflection of a life built not on one explosive hit, but on a steady accumulation of work, of small victories, of projects that, taken together, create a life that feels substantial, even if it is not spectacular. His lifestyle was one of quiet comfort, of a man who lived in a modest home, who traveled little in his later years, who found joy in the quiet routines of everyday life, the kind of routines that can only be fully appreciated by someone who has spent their life chasing the noise of the stage, the roar of the crowd, the applause that can feel like a kind of validation, but that can also feel like a kind of prison. The house, the studio, the garden, the quiet moments of reading, of listening, of thinking, of remembering, became the new kind of stage, the new kind of performance, a life that felt like it was being lived in the same way that his music had always been played, with a sense of quiet, almost imperceptible care, a sense that every note, every word, every moment mattered, and that the way they were treated could shape the way they sounded, the way they felt, the way they were remembered. If his story, the image of a man who could sing Misdemeanor at 11, who could co-lead Boogie Fever at 14, who could produce hits for Janet Jackson in his 20s, who could wrestle with his own demons and still find a way to make music, to make art, to make something that felt like it was alive, that felt like it was breathing, that felt like it was speaking in a language that only the people in the room could understand, moved you, then please consider giving this video a like and sharing it with someone who might need a reminder that the most important things in life are often the quietest, the ones that are felt more than heard, the ones that are lived more than spoken. If you want to stay connected to stories like this one, stories of people who have left their lives behind in the quiet corners of the studio, the stage, the screen, the page, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode.